This short and sweet Sunday is where I break it all down. This is your A to Z of every practice area you could find yourself working in, with a brief description of what each practice area is all about. Let's start off with administrative and public law. This covers areas like judicial review or statutory appeals, amongst other things, and also relates to civil liberties and human rights and police law, which are other practice areas. Advertising and marketing is another practice area. Lawyers here advise their clients on complying with the Advertising Standards Authority and can also be dealing with contracts with big brand clients. Agriculture and rural affairs. Clients here include farmers, landowners, dairies, and banks. Common advice includes advice on regulations, tenancies, wills, and therefore, this practice area also has relations and overlap with private client and real estate. The next practice area is aviation and aerospace. The clue is in the name here. Lawyers here advise on different elements for airlines, manufacturers, and even in the space industry. Covers a lot of different practice areas like insurance, dispute resolution, and regulatory. Banking and finance is a very wide area that can deal from simple bank loans to huge financing agreements across multiple jurisdictions. Includes banking litigation and has links to financial services, restructuring and insolvency, asset finance, capital markets practice areas. That leads on to our next practice area, capital markets itself. Capital markets lawyers primarily work with transactions involving the issue of debt or equity securities to the public or investors. Therefore, it has links to private equity, tax, and banking and finance practice areas. The next practice area is charities. Lawyers here advise the not-for-profit sector on many areas of law, including real estate, wills, and commercial. We've already briefly mentioned civil liberties and human rights, but in a little bit more detail, this practice area basically refers to the fundamental rights and freedoms set out in the Human Rights Act and the ECHR, and has links to public law and immigration. The next practice area is clinical negligence. This covers allegations of negligent acts committed by healthcare or pharmaceutical professionals, and has links to personal injury, professional discipline, and insurance teams. The next practice area is company and commercial. Here we are looking at the trade of businesses, commercial agreements about supply and distribution. The 11th practice area I want to mention is commodities. This covers the regulation and trade of commodities like electricity, metals, oil, and gas. The next practice area is competition and EU law. Competition law is intended to prevent anti-competitive behaviour in the market and ensures the market is fair for consumers. Consumer law means advising on things like credit cards, bank loans, accounts, and mortgages. The next practice area is a very popular one, mergers and acquisitions or corporate. These lawyers tend to advise on the whole process of buying and selling businesses or business assets. Therefore, this practice area has links to tax, partnership, private equity, and investment funds. The next practice area is court of protection. This concerns individuals who have lost the capacity to make their own decisions according to the Mental Capacity Act, so therefore relates to the management of an individual's property. Crime is another practice area which advises on areas like assault, sexual offences, terrorism, and homicide, and can include practice areas like financial crime. Data protection is another practice area, and it's all about the control of information by the public and private sector bodies. Defamation is a practice area that relates to libel and slander claims. Dispute resolution, I guess here, if the name isn't clear enough, this practice area involves the resolution of disputes and has links to international arbitration. Education lawyers involve acting on behalf of schools, employment areas and matters, data protection, discrimination claims, and has links to the local government practice area. Employment, pensions and incentives covers employment litigation cases like discrimination cases, redundancies, but can also be quite advisory in nature as well in terms of writing policy books or working with trade unions. Energy and natural resources covers oil and gas projects, pipelines, natural gas, nuclear, biofuels, water. Environment lawyers are involved with health and safety, contaminated land, renewable energy to litigation. Family and matrimonial lawyers deal with things like marriage, cohabitation, divorce, and prenups. Financial services, this is a practice area that deals with reporting failures, insider trading and dealing, money laundering, as well as advising financial services clients on many regulations affecting the sector. Therefore has links with banking litigation. Franchising, the practice area here reminds me of McDonald's, I'm not going to lie, mainly because McDonald's is also a franchise, and this area of law helps with setting up franchise agreements, disputes from contracts. Fraud, again here the clue is in the name. You can deal with small-scale fraud here or big headline cases. Health and safety lawyers, again, advises on the health and safety, including training and investigations. Healthcare covers a wide range of concerns, including hospitals, medical institutions like the NHS or GP surgeries or pharmacies. Therefore, this practice area can include a wide range of practice areas like M&A, restructuring, and contracts. But it doesn't include things like clinical negligence. That is a practice area on its own. Immigration advises on work permits, visas, asylum and deportation cases, or personal cases with individuals themselves. Insolvency and restructuring lawyers are required for when a company or an individual is facing financial difficulties. The insurance practice area advises on investment management, the mergers or acquisition of insurers, and regulating insurance companies, and therefore has links, for example, to personal injury practice areas, clinical negligence, and even shipping. Intellectual property deals with the patents, the copyrights, the trademarks, and any other intellectual property that an individual or a company may own, and therefore has links to the media and entertainment and life sciences practice area. Islamic finance is another practice area which deals with a system of banking that's compliant with Sharia law. Life sciences is a practice area that combines multiple practice areas like healthcare, IP, and biotechnology, because some of the work that you could be doing involves advising on patents to corporate work. Media and entertainment clients here include managers, performers, creators of artistic work, owners of theatres, broadcasters, or big brands. Outsourcing, this involves the transfer of functions to a specialist third party providing for a fee. Partnership lawyers deal with the partnership matters with professional clients like architects, accountants, doctors, and lawyers. Personal injury involves civil claims intended to obtain compensation for injuries. Private client deals with the areas like wills, probate, trusts, and tax matters. Private equity deals with corporate M&A, capital markets, dealing with things like buyouts, venture capital investments, and IPOs. Professional discipline, this is where you are advising individuals or organizations on professional regulations like disciplinary proceedings and codes of practice. Professional negligence, this deals with disputes arising over loss suffered as a result of negligent advice given by professionals. Projects, this practice area involves infrastructure. Real estate, here you're dealing with properties, buildings, either commercial or residential. It's a very wide practice area that can include the following: planning, construction, environment, social housing, real estate finance, real estate litigation, hotels and leisure, housing, landlord, or tenant. Shipping and trade practice areas can include breaches of cargo claims, arrests of vessels, marine insurance, collisions, as well as registering vehicles and licensing and entering contractual arrangements. Sports, here you draw upon employment, contract, competition, commercial, IP, public, and tort law. It's a very wide practice area. TMT is an area that has things like AI, providing advice on regulations with artificial technology, for example. You can also get things like telecommunication clients. They can be, for example, broadcasters for radio or TV. The last two practice areas I'd like to mention here. Firstly, we have tax lawyers who advise clients on corporate tax responsibilities, as well as VAT, national insurance contributions, and other areas of taxation. And lastly, we have the transport area. Here, you're dealing with overseas accident claims, defending insurers, travel companies, or tour operators, and providing advice on regulations like ATOL. I really hope you have all found this really helpful. That was a really short and brief summary of every single practice area that you can come across in law. Thank you for watching.